Yo, what's up everyone? I'm going to be going over all my battlefield settings in-game and out of game to help you with performance and visibility. So let's get right into this. First, my controls. I use 5 sensitivity, which isn't 100% accurate because I change my sensitivity through my config, which later in the video I'll show you how I do all that. Uniform soldier aiming I have on, and advanced options, everything's at default. Next, for gameplay, I'm just going to scroll through this kind of fast, so pause if you need to. Advanced options. For auto leaning, I have it off. There's benefits to it, but for me, it just hurts my gameplay more than it helps. But I have auto peek over turned on. Again, just pause if you need to. I'm just going to scroll through this kind of fast. For vehicles, I haven't really touched anything since I don't really use vehicles. I think I just made the crosshairs red, about it. But majority of these settings is just all personal preference, so I would just play around with it yourself. Next, audio, 20% hi-fi, stereo. Now for my video settings, everything low and off, except mesh you want on ultra. Brightness 100, VSync off. Field of view is preference. I use 110. I know a lot of people use like 100. Scaling on. Vehicle field of view max. Motion blur 0. DOF off. And for colorblind, I'm not actually colorblind. I just prefer these colors over the default colors. Resolution scale 100. And open screen adjustment, I put everything to the closest to the middle of the screen, so I don't have to move my eyes as far if I want to look at the mini map or my ammo count. And for key bindings, just pause if you need to. I'm not going to be going over vehicle since I don't use vehicles at all. And now one last setting that I've been using recently, which you won't be able to see in my recent videos, but it is Nvidia Filters. So this is what the game looks like with filters on. And then when I turn it off, this is what it looks like. And it's just really blurry, like even the mini map, the icons, everything's just very, very blurry. When I turn it on, the visibility is just way better. So I've been using this recently. These are the settings that I use for Nvidia Filters if you want to copy, but I think it's just way better. You can see how blurry the game looks with it off. And it especially helps on lockers outside. The sun isn't as blinding, and I think it's a lot easier to see outside. So I'd give these filters a try. I think it's worth it. Now that's basically it for everything in-game. Now it's for the out-of-game settings. Now for my Nvidia settings, this is what I have as my 3D settings. You can pause if you want to. G-Sync, you want off if you have that on. And for color settings, everything's default. I change all my colors through my monitor. If you have a BenQ, I use Gamer 1. So if you want to copy my preset, go ahead. And that's it for my Nvidia settings. On to my config now. Now for my config, this is what my user CFG looks like. I have uncapped frame rate, draw FPS1, which shows your FPS on the top right of your screen. And then all of these settings just going to give you better visibility and just help your gameplay overall. I'll put this down in the description below so you can download it. Now for my profile, which you find in your documents folder, Battlefield, this is where I change my sensitivity. This is what my sensitivity is right here. And I'll get into this a little bit more, but I'll also have this to download if you want it as well. Now to get a little bit more advanced in the sensitivity. So this is the website I use for my sensitivity, mousesensitivity.com. You select Battlefield, type in your DPI, mine's 800. Post your sensitivity. It'll give you how many centimeters to do a 360. So in my description, you'll probably see I have like 42 centimeters, 360 or 37 or whatever number. That's just how many centimeters it takes to do a 360 in game. So for me, it's 42. If you change convert from sensitivity to distance, you can type the centimeters. Say you want 42, you type 42, and then it'll give you what you need to post in your config to get 42. Now the other sensitivity I use is 37. So this is what I would post in my config if I want 37. These are the two sensitivities I go in between, 42 and 37. I'll constantly change my sensitivity between these two. I change it like every week. I don't recommend copying my sensitivity anyway. Sensitivity is all personal preference. But for the reason I use this website is because if you switch this to in-game, go back to sensitivity here, in 5, you put, it gives you only 39. So this would be the closest sensitivity I could get to 42 or 37, which is in between, but it's 5. Because if I go to 6, we're at 35. If I go to 4, we're at 45. So since Battlefield doesn't have decimals, you can only use whole numbers. So 5 in game would equal 39. But if you want to get a very precise sensitivity, you have to go through your config and just do it this way. It's the better way to do it, in my opinion, but those are the two sensitivities that I use. And now that's basically it for all my settings. If this video helped you guys out at all, please leave a like, press the subscribe button. I post Battlefield videos weekly or bi-weekly. Hope you all enjoyed. Later.